Welcome everyone to the Africa Miranda Show. I am so excited to kick off this season with you. We are going to be talking to people that I love, that I know you love, and just going on this journey together to living our best and most wonderful, fabulous lives, because that's what we do, right? I'm so excited to kick off my very first episode with someone that I have been a little, I don't know if obsessed is the word. We're not going to say obsessed, but she's been a friend in my head. And when I told so many people that this was the woman that I was going to be interviewing today, they got just as excited as I was. So I'm so excited to bring to the couch today my girlfriend in my head, the amazing and talented Simone Missick. Hello.
How are you?
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
We are kicking things off, and I could not think of a better person to start this journey than you.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, no.
I'm so glad to take this journey with you.
I know I wanted this whole show to be about like girlfriend time and just really digging into the things like we see everyone's lives on social media, and we've seen you Misty Night on Luke Cage and all these wonderful things, but I wanted to really get a chance to ask the questions of you that I've been dying to know.
Yeah.
So I'm just, again, thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you were just coming off of a fabulous travel experience of the summer.
Yeah. I took 17 days.
Come on, that's a trip.
It was a trip. Took 17 days in Europe, and the first part of it was by myself. It was the first time that I have ever traveled by myself.
And how many days of the 17 were you solo?
7.
That's a trip.
Yeah, and the thing was, I've absolutely gotten on a plane by myself. I've gone places. Yeah. But always with the notion that wherever I landed,
somebody's meeting
me. They're making sure I'm alive. They're
exactly.
taking me to school or work or wherever. And so I realized I had never done it before. And it was more than a notion. I discovered things about myself and experienced feelings where I was like, I don't understand where this is coming from.
Isn't it? Because you realize that for the first time, you are totally on your own schedule. Yeah. And so much of travel, I think people don't realize is compromise.
Absolutely.
It's like, are you ready to get up yet? Do y'all want to go eat here?
Yeah.
Well, I'm ready to leave. They're not ready to go yet. Yep. And it's like, because the first time I did it, I was in Rio.
Oh, whew.
It was, it honestly, I tell people, like, I look at my life, like, before I did that trip and then my life afterwards. Because, again, you think that you're like, I'm a grown woman. I can go somewhere. Yeah. But the first time you realize, like, oh, nobody
cares. And there's a scary feeling in that, but then there's also a freedom in that.
Yes.
So that was I think when I first got on the plane, I was like, yes. This is exciting. I'm grown. I was a little buzzed. I had some champagne. I was like, life is beautiful.
Exactly.
And then I got to London and did some shopping, and then I went to Rome, and everything was so fast paced. It was like, yes, I'm living my best life. And then I got to Positano in Italy, and I had to sit still. And I had to sit still with my thoughts and my random neuroses. Exactly. And I was like, I don't understand why I have this feeling of like fear.
Yeah.
And one of the most amazing moments, because I'm a Christian and I pray, and I woke up and I decided I was going to go on this boat. The hotel that I was staying at.
I was going to ask you about that because first of all, I was like following your Instagram posts. Like, I was like, am I on the trip with her? Like, this is so
I wanted
good.
you to feel like you were at the
but
trip
it was
with
like your
Africa.
travel diary. It was great.
Yeah. So I decided to go on this boat that the hotel offered. And they were like, well, you can do 2 choices. You can go for breakfast and have a swim, or you can go for lunch. And if you want to swim, you can, but it's not required. And I said, well, I'm in the Mediterranean by myself. I'm not going to swim all day because I'm a little afraid.
Right.
And I realized I had developed this fear of swimming. And so out of nowhere. So I get up in the morning and I'm dragging my feet. I'm like, I do not want to go on this boat. So I was like, I don't feel like doing it. And I just kept like dragging my feet, and the time is getting closer and closer.
It's like, ma'am, come on.
I get this O magazine, and the dang on thing is like 26 tips for traveling solo.
Look at God. Come on.
Like,
come on,
right,
message.
God,
come on, message.
Mama, okay, I get it. So I hop my black ass down, excuse me, to the boat, and I'm like running because it's like traffic to get to the boat. And I see this boat taking off, and I'm like, I think they left me. I'm kind of excited, but then I'm kind of sad. But I'm really kind of happy because I didn't want to be there by myself. And I run, they're like, it's you. I'm like, how do you know it's me?
They're like, this black woman in
Positano. You're the only black woman in Positano getting on this boat. We know it's you. And they're like, surprise.
Yeah.
You're the only one on the boat.
So you're on a solo trip.
On a solo
and now
trip.
a solo trip within a solo trip.
Yes.
Okay. That was the universe saying this is the time you were supposed to be alone.
Absolutely. You were supposed to be alone.
Yeah.
And I got on the boat and it was beautiful. It was not only picturesque,
Yeah.
but it was beautiful being able to feel just the blessing of stepping outside of my comfort zone and there being something bigger on
Look
the
at the
other
reward.
side of it.
Look at the reward.
And
Exactly.
I ended up having an amazing day. I forced myself to jump into the water. Now, listen, when I was a kid, I swam all day long.
Same.
And then I was like, oh, hair.
Life starts giving you realize, like you said, you start limiting yourself without realizing it. And you look up and I'm the same. Grew up, I was on swim team, took swimming lessons, swam every summer.
Yeah.
And I haven't even been in a pool all summer. You do
these things and you're like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
So I was legit terrified to jump into the water with a floaty on. I'm like, I know how to swim.
I know
I know if something happens, I can swim.
Right.
But I was like, oh, it's the Mediterranean.
Right.
It's deep. I can see down.
This is Miami. Like, I don't know these waters.
Exactly. So there was so much just in that one day, 8 hours that I learned about myself that just, I think, set me off on a path where I know that no matter what happens in life, I have to continue to travel by myself.
Absolutely.
Even as I grow my family, I have to take that time to force myself to just be alone with my thoughts, but then also to connect spiritually and to know that you're not alone.
You're not. And
You're never alone.
And you need to disconnect because when people are there and our phones are taking, it's still the noise just like your home.
Yeah.
And when you're alone and you're walking the streets of a place and you're hearing a language that you may not know and seeing different things, it's just your senses everything is firing differently. You feel so alive.
Yeah.
And you are, but it is scary.
It is.
It is, because I remember having some moments where I'm just like, if something happens to me, is anybody going to know? And when I did my trip to Rio, this was oh God, maybe 08 or 09. So, I mean, yes, I had an iPhone, but this was before,
before you could drop a pin.
Exactly, and we're so connected. And I think back now, like, maybe it wasn't that safe. But
hindsight, but still.
But again, you're not alone and you're protected, because I got lost, wandered the city, and I had a friend who was there for work. So during the day, I was totally on my own, and I would meet up with them at night. And I remember telling like some of the people who were locals, like where I had been and walking around, and they were like, "You were there? That's totally not safe." And I was like, "Well, I was fine. People were nice to me." So I think it's especially for women, like we need to again face these fears, because life starts giving you these messages and you start to internalize it without even realizing that you've edited yourself down to like this version that you don't even recognize.
Yeah.
Well, now that I have you here, I'm gonna get all my questions and all the things I've been wanting to know. So you have been, from the moment, honestly, I saw Luke Cage for the first time, I was like, who's this beautiful brown woman in this hair, this twist out, giving me life? And as you are continuing to do today with these braids, because I love them.
Thank you.
First let's get into just the hair on the show. I know, because I do my due diligence, that you went into the audition, you said for the first time auditioning with your hair like that. And I know how it is, like you don't really know if you should show up with your hair certain ways.
Yeah. It was something about the role that I said, this woman seems like she would be natural. And in that time, I was embracing my own natural hair.
That journey.
I'd been on that journey. I chopped a bunch of my hair off. I didn't do a big chop, but I cut a lot of it, and I had been transitioning and all that stuff. And so I was just getting to the place where I was like, I love the way that my hair looks.
Yeah.
And I, put myself out there with that, and they loved it, which was lovely. And so when I booked the job and I went in, I was like, and now you guys need to find me a wig.
Right, because what we're not going to do.
Right. And they were like, no, we think your hair is great.
Of course.
Because the people behind the camera in that department do not know hair.
Exactly.
And natural hair in that way. I'm not going to say that they don't know hair.
But
they don't know natural hair. It's a whole other thing. And so for the first 4 episodes, every night I'm going home and twisting my dang on hair. And, I mean, we would get off set sometimes at 3, 4 in the morning, and I still had to go home.
Because we know you can't just go home and go to bed.
You can't just go home and go to bed. You can't pineapple that. It's going to be a whole other story tomorrow.
Exactly.
So, and they didn't know that.
Right.
And so they took that for granted, and every day I would come in and they were like, this is great. It's perfect. This is so easy. And I'm like, no, it's not. So I went to my stylist and I had some breakage.
Of course, because how could you not?
Constant manipulation. Yeah. And so I put my foot down and we got a lovely piece. And that is what lives on as Misty Knight from here on out.
Now, one thing on this journey, especially as a creative, gratefulness and being appreciative of where you are. Now, I listened to, you did a podcast interview with Lisa Nicole Bell.
Oh.
And I love Lisa. So I was a guest on the show. And before, I hadn't listened to her show yet. So I was, going to listen to some episodes. I was listening to her episode and I had to pull over on the side of the road. Because I had never heard anybody be so honest about like their career journey. And you shared that story about, having that project where you weren't really so crazy about it, but then you felt like, not to say that you paid for that over your career, but that you learned a lesson about gratefulness.
I paid for it.
Well, and it made me I feel like that was so important to share because people aren't honest about that.
Sometimes, no.
Yeah.
I just moved to LA and got this film and I was super excited about it. And I was like, this is amazing. Right. This is the way it's supposed to go. I'm in LA, I'm shooting a film. And it was an independent project, and so I knew what that was, and it was a 2-week shoot. And then when I looked up, it was a year later, and we were still filming this project. And I was at this point of, we had a director, lost the director, had a producer, lost that producer, the DP left, and like all of these changes, and all I was left with was this woman who was a sister, who was writing it and had now started directing it and was producing it. And instead of looking at it and saying, this is this woman with a dream and this is her passion project and she's determined to finish it, I looked at it like, I can't believe I'm still shooting this.
It's a year later.
It's a year later. I don't care about continuity. My hair is what my hair is going to be. Instead of like really thinking, there are some films that shoot for a year.
Yes.
And they will call you up and say, hey, we need you here at this time, and we need you to remember your performance.
Exactly, because it has to be consistent.
And we need for you to maintain the way that you look.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about any of that. And I allowed for the frustrations of the people around me as well, because we were all a little fed up
at that point.
At that point with it. And so I 100% believe that in that, God went, oh, that's what you, okay, I see that. I'm going to give you another 10 years.
No, and that's when I pulled over.
10
because I was like, I'm sorry, what?
10 years before you get that opportunity again. And I think that, it's important for you to learn the lesson.
Yes.
Because if you don't, you will keep repeating.
Exactly.
Repeating and repeating.
I appreciated that you shared that story because I'm like, there's no person that's been acting, performing, or doing anything that does not have a moment where, if they're being honest, they were not as grateful. Yeah. I remember when I got fired, it was like fired from a play.
Oh my God.
And I tell people, like, I auditioned, I had a great audition. Yeah. And the thing for me is that I was modeling and doing a lot of commercials, but I was like, if I was being honest, in terms of like really like studying acting and like really being up to par in terms of my working on my craft, I hadn't been. Yeah. I was getting by on like charisma and personality. So I'd had this amazing audition, and it was like a musical, so I need you to, I was like, okay, sang, came in, they loved it. Yeah. Well, they brought me in as a swing. And if anyone that's, does not know what a swing is, it means you have to basically know the entire production. Like, I had like 4 roles. I had to learn like all this stuff. And it just, I knew I was in over my head day one. Like, day one. And I was just like, oh God, what have I done? Yeah. But again, you're like, but you're still telling yourself, like, I got it. Like, I can do this. Yeah. But I was sinking. And the thing is that normally this type of production would have taken probably like 6 weeks to put on. Right. They were doing it in 2 weeks. Oh. So they didn't have time for anybody that needed, like me, to get up to speed. That needed
the actual 6 weeks.
Right. So, and I needed like 8 weeks or 12. Like, I needed like all the weeks. So cut to about 4 days later, we went to lunch, and you knew that at lunch that's when they would cut people, because the director would say that they would need to see people instead of going to lunch, but like, I need to see like Simone, Brave, I need to see Hakeem. So they were like, I need to see Africa, such, and I was just like, it was like walking the Green Mile. Oh my God. And I got fired, honey. Got fired. But it is the best. I mean, at the time, it was super embarrassing because, of course, there's people that I knew. Right. And, you're like, oh, my God, are they going to tell people I got fired? Right. But it set my career on a totally different course. I got so serious about what I was doing. And then a year later, I saw the director, and he was just like, how are you? And he felt, and I said, do not feel bad. I said, you did me the best favor ever. Like, I've since, worked with the casting director after that. But we need to be honest.
Yes. As a result,
because I was like, oh, this is never happening again.
Exactly. You were like, And I'm never getting fired.
No.
I think that is, but that to me, that's like heart palpitation.
Girl.
Like, I cannot imagine going.
Yes.
But you know what? I did a play here, my first New York play I just did, called Paradise Blue at the Signature
Which
Theater.
I was, I'm like, come on, segue. Because I was just about to get into like the things you've been doing now. So yes.
Yeah, so I got that audition, and I was working on a show on Iron Fist season 2, and I didn't look at the dates when I booked, when I went into the audition. I assumed that my people had done their job, and they wouldn't have brought me in the room if they knew otherwise.
Exactly.
So it wasn't until I got the job that I found out that it was in direct conflict. And then as the days went on, I found out that it was increasingly more and more conflict. It was another one of those times where I had to really examine where my spiritual walk was, because I realized that because I was on a show and I didn't have anything else going on, I didn't have any conflicts.
Right.
So every day that they were like, oh, you're working Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I was like, all right, I'll see you there. And Tuesday, Thursday, I do my own thing.
Right.
But as soon as you have to believe God for something else, for something supernatural, it becomes this feeling of like, oh, I wasn't doing that for the past 7-8 months. I was just floating by. Exactly. And so if I got real close with God, like real close with God, every day going to the theater, I'm listening to the word, I'm listening to music, I'm getting
to get in that right place. Exactly.
And by the grace of God, I only had one day.
Come on.
That was a conflict.
Look at that.
One day out of
yeah.
I mean, it was months. And in that day, after it happened, because what happened was they would not release me from the TV show.
Oh, of course not. Like this,
you have to work this day. And I was like, but I have a performance. They were like, we'll see you at 7.
Exactly. They're like Misty, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay,
great. Thanks.
So the writer is also an actor. Her name is Dominique Morisseau. She's an amazing playwright and actress. And she said, I got you. I will step in and I will do it. It all worked out the way it was supposed to work out. But that was just like...
No, it's that pressure and that anxiety every day. No, it's,
So if you have to, I can't even imagine going in every day waiting
and struggle
and seeing other people getting fired.
No, and then you're just like... Okay. Oh. But then in the back of my mind, like you said, I was almost praying for it because it was the lesson. I was supposed to get fired because if not, I would have never taken things as seriously as I needed to. Because in life, when you're talented to a degree, you can get by.
Yeah.
People want to do things for you. Come on. Yeah. Come on over. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
I call it like my Dorothy Dandridge. Like, I'm just like, all right, let's do it.
Are a dork.
I love her. But you know what I mean? Like you give, I was like, you give, you know, but the thing about that is like, it's got to have some substance. And I had to work on the substance. Yeah. And I would never have really been forced to do that had I not been embarrassed. Oh. Now, before you go, we want to do a little this or that with you to kind of find out what you like. So, first, this or that, wig or weave?
Ooh, wig.
Okay.
Wig.
Okay.
I just had a sew-in for the first time in like 2 years, and it was torture.
Really?
I took it out after 3 weeks.
Oh, so I still appreciate a good sew-in.
Maybe I just haven't had a good sew-in in a while. But no, it wasn't even that. It was that I'm allergic to synthetic hair.
And so if they put that in the braid, it tears. Okay.
And so with this, I had this lovely soaking method. Where you soak it in
they do so, and they takes it off.
Chemicals
off.
This
looks good. How long did it take?
This took her 2 hours, if that.
Okay, so
Nikki B on here.
Okay, we need Nikki's.
Because don't share Nikki.
I
don't want to lose Nikki.
You're like, no,
you know how to
no, it wasn't Nikki.
There's more of Nikki to go around. Nikki B.
But no, because that's always been sometimes my thing with braids. I love them, but everybody's like, well, it took me 12 hours. I was like, well, I don't have 12 hours of my life.
No.
But so don't say I'm not single, white, female. If I have, I'll move my ponytail to the other side.
Honey, listen. What I love is I spend all my time going on Instagram like, yep, bookmark that hairstyle, save that one. Like, that's what we all do. We all share. Take this hairstyle.
I love it.
Take it.
So the next this or that, sweet potato pie or peach cobbler?
Oh. Peach cobbler.
Okay. With the good crust?
With the good crust. My mom doesn't really make cobbler. She makes pies, but she makes her own crust.
Ooh.
And so I remember she would make like this peach blueberry cobbler. So good.
Okay, Mom.
So yeah.
she wants to
Homemade
send
Christmas.
something.
I'll send you a slice.
And then last one, Boomerang or Coming to America.
Girl. As I live. What?
Which one?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go with my sweet brother Noomsy. Coming to America.
That's
There are that Batisha Campbell and Boomerang.
I know.
But yep.
When she's over the fence.
Oh my
and doing
God.
the thing.
Hey, girl.
Hey. But my height, my size, my weight. Right. Yeah. No. It's,
Yes.
But yeah, Coming to America
America
for me. Even though they show it on television every time, my deciding factor if I'm going to watch it is if they've passed the Miss Black America like pageant, then I won't watch it. But if
I've already missed the real
right, but if they, because I was just like, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well, let them lead the way.
I love it.
I love it. Guys, thanks for tuning in to the first episode of the Africa Miranda Show. We love Simone and we thank her so much. If you guys enjoyed today's show, you are going to be so excited for the rest of the season. We are going to be living our best lives. We're going to be talking about food and travel and life and our purpose and just some more surprises to come. So we'll be back every Tuesday. To follow the show, please subscribe to my Facebook page here at Africa Miranda and also join the Facebook group especially for the Africa Miranda Show. See you guys next week.